GM, GA, GE, wherever you may be. I'm Lou, and today with me I have Jed Henry and G Warsh from the Nico Core NFT team, and we're going to talk about their project, which is coming out soon, and a little of their background. And if people have any other questions, we're going to go through it all today. So first, going to start off with Jed, a little about your history as far as art goes and just your past artistic style that led you to this project.
Sure, yeah. So starting in 2012, I was one of the first adopters on Kickstarter, if you remember those days of the internet. And I created a project called Ukiyo-e Heroes back then, 10 years ago. That was kind of a mashup between like traditional Japanese woodblock art and pop art, especially video game, comics focused subject matter. And so I collaborated with a dude in Tokyo, and we made real traditional handmade Japanese prints the way they used to make them back in the 1800s. And it was an instant success. From 1 month to another, I went from being a very unemployed artist to being somebody who had a career. And so I'll be forever grateful for that. And so for the past 10 years, I've been pursuing that and growing my business, producing Japanese woodblock prints. And along the way, I started getting into Comic Cons, selling at conventions around the world. And along the way with that, I started branching into enamel pin design. And one of the pins that I started designing a long time ago, and also t-shirt design, is a little cat piloting a mech suit. And I thought that it was a really fun idea. And it's been about 5 years, and every year I'll do like a different shirt design with a cat piloting a mech. I do pins of it. And then when NFTs started to really pick up last year, I thought I think cats piloting mech suits would be a lot of fun. So I got in contact with a friend of mine who he's a professional game dev. He's a very successful indie game dev, and a mutual friend between me and Greg. And 6 months later, we've got a series ready to go, and we're very proud of it. And I'm the artist. And I hope you guys like the art. I don't know. That's what I got.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think you're just some random artist. You have over 200,000 followers on Instagram. So, I mean, you're not going to say it, but I think you're kind of a big deal when it comes to that. How do you think following on Instagram, like that big of a following, is most of your audience, do they know what NFTs are, or are a lot of them new to it?
So, to be honest, when we first started this project, the Instagram crowd is, I think, slightly different than the Twitter crowd. I think the NFT space is mostly on Twitter for a reason. Instagram, for some reason, tends to be leaning more towards hostility regarding NFTs. And so for the longest time when we were prepping this project, I kind of hemmed and hawed and was like, I don't know, maybe do I dox myself or not? Do I dox myself or not? Just because some people just don't get it. And eventually I just said, screw it, we're going to go for it. I'm going to go public with this because I'm proud of it. And I announced on Instagram, and the people who care came and found us, and the people who don't care left. And that was the goal, was, quickly discerning between people who want to know about what we're doing and people who don't. And so I'm really grateful. A big influx of people came from my Instagram following and are in the Discord, and they're very pleasant to talk to, very complimentary, and I'm really grateful for their support over the years, because a lot of them have gone from being print collectors to who are now NFT collectors.
And you can tell that they really enjoy the extra access that Discord brings, and being able to say, Jed, I love your art, and have Jed actually reply. Whereas on Instagram, obviously, that's like a lot harder to do.
Yeah,
true. Yeah,
definitely. And then to switch it down to you, G-War. So I know you a little bit from the Deposit Kingdom Discord, from Pete Overzet. We go back to basically when the club NFTs began in his Discord. You were in there. It kind of started as oddly enough as it sounds, a wax NFT Discord. And so give us a little about your background. Did you enter specifically through Wax? And then is that entrance in Wax how you sort of got to this point in the Nico core?
Right. So, as I mentioned last when I was on with you guys on Monday, I started with Top Shot and got into Pete's Discord that way. And then kind of one day hit me, like it makes sense to a lot of people. People are paying money for these items in video games and they don't own them. With NFTs, you pay the money and you actually own something in the game. And, you can make the money and the players can make the money and not the actual game company. And, to their credit, I thought some of the Wax projects had a fairly innovative design, if not good follow through. And, such a firm believer in like blockchain gaming. That I really got into Our Planet. And as Jed mentioned, our friend in common was the one who was, early crypto adopter. And I was telling him, hey man, like I'm into crypto now. He's like, oh, you have any good coins? I'm like, no, I have Ether. Completely made
with
up.
An A.
Didn't exist 3
Yeah.
months ago, has no market cap, just completely speculative stuff compared to like, actual real investments. And it was fun. And obviously we all saw, the pitfalls of the staking an NFT and generating a token model. It's hard to kind of make something fun. It's hard to make that free giveaway have value when everyone just wants to sell it. And so in a way, seeing that like it was really, really hard to do something like that, creating like essentially a quality video game like Elden Ring, but only 10,000 people can play it because those people own the characters, pretty much completely economically infeasible. Like that's not going to happen either. And so when we started talking about Neko Core and, Jed's art obviously was the main starting point, but being able to combine it with our friend who's a game developer and has, successfully executed projects from development to making them, to actually selling them to platforms. So really a lot of business development experience too. We kind of thought of the idea of a blockchain game and we figured like, are we going to spend 5 years making like the most complicated thing ever? No, let's go the other way and just make it simple and fun and make it so like it can be ready really soon and ready to go and have, amazing art and utility and not have that utility be like a complete vague pipe dream. And to be honest that, it's not going to be like Elden Ring, but it's going to be real and you're going to be able to play with your NFTs. So it should be fun.
Cool. And so before we start getting into the Nico core, I'm going to ask the viewers if they are willing and appreciate this content to like the video. And that's going to help both of us. Between Lucky Trader getting more eyeballs on this video is also going to get more eyeballs on the Nico core video in their team. So please do that before we get into the specific details. But G-Warsh has been kind enough to create a little document for us that I'm going to show. And this displays the art a little bit. So I guess, and I'm not sure which of you is the better one to ask this question. So jump in if you think that you're better for it. But let's get into the lore a little bit of Nico core. And so they're basically cats fighting each other, but they're in these mechs. So what's sort of the lore behind it?
I'll quickly get into like the story lore. It's obviously a bit of a funny joke, of course, which is like the year's 9999. Cats are the dominant species on Earth, and Ethereum is the dominant currency. A little bit of a joke there, but obviously kind of like a future. Honestly, I personally like I'm over the kind of like dystopian future on Earth vibe. Maybe it started to sound a little too realistic, but just having like it be super fun and separated and like, people fighting over water. I don't want to think about that, but like cats fighting each other in space or wherever, it's fun. And the idea of a tournament in the sense that like, people are choosing to come and there's champions and it's a celebration. Like, I love tournaments of all kinds, DraftKings tournaments, playoffs or a tournament, World Cup, stuff like that. So just the notion of a tournament to me was really fun. And, obviously it started with Jed's great artwork and kind of how do we take cats and mechs and make a fun story. So, the lore, we wanted to make sense and be fun. But, I wouldn't say it's like, there's not going to be like a book of lore coming out.
Yeah.
I don't think.
But they're all going to be cats in mechs. So are the traits going to be, there's X amount of different types of mechs? Are they going to be split up into, say, I don't want to call them like species or types or something along those lines. And it's going to be separated between mech and the cat. I believe you're calling them cat pilots, right?
Yep. And I'll click through and Jed, I'll let you get into the art details, man, since it's
Sure. So just like you said, Lou, or you asked about, are there different species? We have different factions, and here's two of them. The one on the left is our top faction, and those are the Divine Nekos. And so I wanted to go with something that looked a little like supernatural, something that was almost like if you were to encounter a supernatural being, right? With tech elements. And so that's a little more on the spooky, crazy side. And they are the most popular, or not popular, the most powerful faction. And their stats are a little bit higher than the middle tier and the bottom tier of faction. The faction on the right are our Mechanekos, and they're the bottom faction. And they are a little bit at a disadvantage, but honestly, the stronger individuals in that faction will compete with some of the weaker individuals in the top faction. So everything's close enough where between the random draws during the tournament, there is still some competitive opportunity there. On the left side, that's the middle faction. Those are the Royal Nekos, and they kind of have a Zoids kind of a look, and they're quadrupedal cat bots. There's a lot of fun in there. It's funny to see, ask people what their favorite faction is. Everybody's got their favorite, and you can't convince them otherwise. Yeah. even on the team, we're split on who our favorite design is.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool that Frozen, it's got a frozen, but it's also glistening aspect to it. Obviously the other one, it's got a little radioactive sense to it as well. Because I mean, the idea behind it is it's this crazy looking mech, and it's just a cuddly little kitten basically that's controlling it. So it's kind of funny how that side of it works.
I like Oh yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was just saying really quickly, what I really like is that we started with what you see on the right here, the Mechaneko. That was, of course, Jed's original concept. It feels like some projects maybe start with a cool one-of-one idea and kind of work back. But that was his idea, and he said, how can I make it cooler? And we got more and more cool. And then obviously, Jed, if you have more to say about those, that'd be cool. But, we do also have the one-of-ones, which I think are all extremely impressive and, add a really fun, rarity lottery element to the mint. And, these are Jed's first NFTs, and to have Jed Henry one-of-one NFT, I think it'd be pretty cool. I'd like to own one, but I'm obviously not going to. A random minter will. But these are just 2 examples. We have 6 total, maybe a surprise one more, TBD. But, stuff like this I think is really cool. And this one on the right is our Animo collab. Turned out really cool.
Yeah, and Jed, do you have any other one-of-one NFT art that you've basically sold on, whether it's OpenSea or Foundation or any of those platforms?
Nope, this is my first foray into creating NFTs.
Okay.
At first, I was a little bit. As an artist, sometimes we can be kind of low tech, and so working with Greg and the rest of our team, that was kind of my baptism into learning about all this stuff and figuring it all out.
Cool.
Yeah, to me, it's really cool that Jed's putting everything into this Neko Core collection. Obviously, he could have done some one-of-ones and auctioned them off, or as you said, a Foundation, started really small, 1, 2 pieces at a time. But just to put everything into this collection and, make it his Genesis collection. He mentioned the Ukulele Heroes. Oh, I got a slide for that. Boom. This is going to be the next NFT collection. And, the only way to get on this whitelist will be to own a Nekoverse. So I think it'll be exciting. And I know that Jed has some exciting things, but, that's the next step. And just honestly part of the plan of making it as many different aspects of value, kind of adding that mint pass functionality, just kind of as many ways as an NFT can be valuable to someone. We try to, make that an aspect of the collection.
Yeah. And did you say for those collabs, are those all going to be part of this collection as one-of-ones?
Correct. So those are one-of-ones. They are randomly inserted into the mint. When you mint a Neko Core, you could get one. Obviously, the odds are 6 out of 9,999, just to be clear. They are, in fact, one-of-ones. But, in addition to the actual one-of-ones, which are really cool, as you see on the left, that is a rare, shiny paint scheme. And so I think each of the, designs have a shiny paint model, and some of them are kind of based on popular color schemes that people really like. So, you maybe throw with your, Mecha Neko, most common tier, and it's got a familiar paint job, let's say. I don't want to alarm anyone. But there's obviously very cool aspects and surprises of all the tiers. It's not just like, oh, if you don't get a 1-of-1, obviously I think there was a great collection before those 1-of-1s came in. So we're just trying to, add stuff.
Yeah, we tried to insert value wherever we could. In that, a lot of PFP series are just one image with variations, right? And we went and created 3 with each of the different factions. They're totally different frameworks, which I had to draw totally new art for each one, right? And so it feels like the way that the math works, once you start to get higher in the variables, the math is like, if you have 3 different arms and 5 different legs and 2 different heads, the math goes 3 times 5 times 2 times blah, blah, blah to get your variance, right? But when you start back from 0 each time, that curve to get up to speed to create variety in these NFTs takes a lot of artwork. So we effectively did triple the work that most NFT launches like this do. And on top of that, we, instead of just, a head or a very simple cartoon character, we really tried to create a lot of detail, a lot of excitement, a lot of fun stuff to look at. And so as an artist, I take pride in making cool stuff that gets me excited, stuff that's not just like, that's neat, I guess, cool. But like stuff that I'm like, that's rad. I want to see that move. I want to see that world. I want to see this thing fight. I want to see how it works, how it breathes,
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we created shinies. On top of that, we created uniques. And so we're just trying to create as much interest and as much variety and value for collectors as possible, because we care and we think the project is cool and it's something that we want to be proud of. And so we're working hard to be proud of it.
And along those lines, obviously some projects, as Jed mentioned, they're only profile pictures. There's a face. It looks like a picture. It's like perfectly suited for a profile picture. You can zoom in on the mech and it looks cool. But, some people might have said, whatever, it's an art project. It's a tournament. It's not perfectly suited. Who cares? We want to make it a cool PFP also. So after the mint, you'll be able to mint for free your cat pilot that has come in your mech as a profile picture, as just like a really high quality export. Welcome all those cat pilot PFPs. We actually released a bunch of those in the Discord. And if you want to hop in and change your server picture to one of those, I hear that might be a really good way to get on the whitelist.
Ooh. Okay.
It's been
a little
said.
alpha there. Yeah. So there'll be 9,999 of those, and it'll be a separate collection. And will that be mintable right after the initial mint, or will there be sort of a time frame in between?
Soon after. We're going to update the website with the tournament. I think on the roadmap. Oh, stand by. For free mint in April. So
1 month
a little bit
later.
of time. Yeah, get our stuff reset. Make sure everything's up and running. But of course, follow through. Obviously, we went to the roadmap slide here. I'm proud that we have kind of one road with very clear stops on the road of what comes in order. Sometimes these are pretty vague and unclear. But it's really fun. And we've talked a lot about the art. And Lou, I know you're really interested in the tournament. I don't know if we've made it there yet, but obviously,
let's talk about the mint first. Yeah, since we're looking at the roadmap.
Sure. Yeah. The mint or whitelist presale will take place next Thursday, the 17th. If you're on the whitelist, you'll be able to mint 2, and that price is 0.06 ETH. And then it's open for 24 hours. Following day, Friday the 18th, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. The public mint will begin. Public mint price is 0.09 ETH. So hopefully people take advantage of getting on the whitelist, getting those 2 reduced price mints. And, I think we've done a really good job kind of when we were creating our whitelist process, being able to reward everyone who's been there with us from the beginning and creating excitement to bring on some new people, setting up some collabs with other projects and alpha groups. And I think finding really good ways to spread the word. And it's been really good. Discord's almost at 5K, really doing well. And, I credit everything to Jed. Art obviously speaks for itself. You don't have to sell anywhere on the art. And of course, other team members for making these really cool tournament utility, which I think, if I can click the next slide here, get a little ahead. Those are the trophy NFTs that you win in the tournament. But, stuff like this, I think is a really cool, UI for people to see that they can go to a website, tinker with their mech before the tournament. But, you don't have to do this. If you just mint a Neko core and forget about it, if it wins, you're going to get the trophy NFT, which again are these gold, silver, shiny Nekos, sent to your wallet. So it's definitely, no clicking, no obligation like that. You see these toggles, they're kind of neutral as far as stats. So it's kind of like, tinkering with your lineup there. You might not be helping, but it's fun to do if you want to pay attention to it.
Well, some of the tournaments also will have different conditions where certain stats will have a benefit and help you lean towards victory. And so if you pay attention to the conditions of the tournament and which stats have an advantage, it'll be worthwhile to go in and if you see right here, you can focus on, boosting your power, your accuracy, efficiency. And so if you pay attention to what the monthly tournament is doing, you can actually nudge your chances a little higher too.
Yeah. And I do want to, sorry, Luke.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, the one thing I really want to touch on is these are, as I said, the trophy NFTs, and these are serial numbers 1 through 72 in the collection. And so if you get first place there's 24 tournaments, one every month for 2 years, times 3 is 72. And so, Neko Core number 1 serial number, instead of being like held forever and evolved by the team, is going to be given away for free to a holder. And I think that's really cool and kind of, I would say, along the lines of just like putting everything we can into the collection. I'm sure Baby Jeb wanted to hold on to Neko Core number 1, his Genesis NFT collection. It's given away. It's going out there. We don't know to who. And so obviously, we're starting, 72, 71, 70. But these are all really cool looking Nekos, and the only way to get them is to win this tournament. So I think it'll be, as far as people who are into the collection, really cool. And then also kind of as your Neko NFT advances in the tournament, obviously the closer and closer it gets to winning one of these trophy NFTs, the more valuable it might be to someone else. So that kind of chance for your regular seeming NFT to spike in value, it's obviously something really fun we've seen on other projects, and just kind of creating a game dynamic to allow that to happen. Just kind of, who doesn't like when you're holding your NFT and it only goes to 10x, like a Top Shot Flash challenge or something. It's really fun. So just kind of adding that element of gaming and essentially the dice rolling and will I get lucky? 24 chances over the next 2 years to do something.
And then will there be, now I guess let's go a little further into the tournament side of things. So the one thing I've been comparing it to is Chain Faces Arena, where you basically have your NFTs, they go in, and over time some get, die in the arena, except in yours, you don't lose the NFT like you did in Chain Faces. So let's go over a little of the sort of mechanics behind the tournament. So you had mentioned it's passive. You don't have to manage the NFT during, but if you sell during, the new person gets it. So if that one wins, they're the one that actually wins the prize, not you. So let's get a little into the mechanics of the tournament itself.
Yeah, it's really cool. We wanted to kind of, to be frank, create a system where, there's different ways to do the beginning and whittle it down from 9,999 to 1. And we wanted to make a way where 90% of people weren't getting eliminated right away. Like if you started with like a Royal Rumble of 10 and 1 emerged, we'd lose a lot of people right away. So we're starting with team battles of 5-on-5, and you'll be able to, hop in Discord and connect with your team and talk and root them on. And the 5 out of 5 team will last until, if you make it through the group stage, that is 512 Neko cores remaining. And so if that is a bracket of 64, like March Madness with 3 extra rounds. And so, once you get to there, it's kind of like, make it to the big dance, anything can happen. Those one-on-one battles, of course, just takes one lucky roll, one lucky shot, and it could go the way of the underdog. And so that is essentially the mechanics, trying to keep it simple, where we have the team battles, we will it down that way to 512. And after 512, as you see here, single elimination tournament. And, I think it'll be cool. The matches happen. They take 2 minutes, each of these matches. So you can follow all of them. You can follow along. You can see when your guy's scheduled to fight and be ready for it. You can notice that one is on sale and maybe it's fighting in 10 minutes and pay very close attention to that fight. I think there's a lot you can do if you want to, pay attention and you're into it. And, as we said, if you don't want to pay attention that month, if you're busy, you're never going to have to pay attention. Your Neko core is going to be there.
And you can still win. You could just put it on autopilot and still see something new in your wallet after you win a tournament.
Yeah.
Praying that happens. What's this airdrop I just got?
Yeah. And it's not like you don't have to stake it and you cause, gas, having to pay a gas transaction to stake it, unstake it. That is part of the chain faces. What was kind of cool with chain faces is you could pull it out early and still get a prize, but
A
obviously
lot of
like
game
that still
theory.
costs
And
gas.
honestly, like game theory is fun to talk about. Like, yeah, we'll make these guys make a really tough decision with their valuable
Yeah.
NFTs. It's not as fun to like actually go through that and be like, this NFT is worth $8,000. Technically, it's plus EV to leave it in here, but I kind of want that money.
Yeah.
So like some of these game theory decisions are just like agonizing decisions that you have to like do a bunch of math on. So we really try to take that aspect out of it. Obviously, shout out to Chain Face. It's really fun. One of our earlier ideas was like, we're going to give back ETH. It's going to be sweet. It's a fun casino vibe. It's like basically illegal to do that. The team's all professionals, all have families, other things going on, just no interest in like a legally complicated situation and like diving into that. So another reason we decided to keep it simple. But honestly, like shout out to Chain Faces, and to me that's like a all utility project. Like those weren't art NFTs that you got. So the decision to risk it probably different. Like I would hate to make someone decide whether they should risk their sweet divine Neko they minted just because like it's slightly plus EV. Like no, you can keep it, enjoy it, and root it on, and collect it.
Yeah, and then next month, once it gets out of the tournament, next month it's still eligible to go
right
back
in.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask, and based on this slide specifically, so each round there's this scoring system. I'm not sure if we can get into the scoring system much, but is there one thing that I was interested, because this is the thing I hated the most about Chain Faces, is you weren't able to really sweat it at all. Is there going to be any, I don't know if there's like animations or just, can I watch how this one 75-14? Am I watching the scores go up over time? How long is each of these rounds? Like, can I sweat watching it while I'm on the website?
So there's 2 minutes long, and we do have like a fun dice roll animation that you'll be able to watch it and you'll be able to do that. I would say that kind of the experience of following the tournament is something that I think we'll be able to improve most on as it goes. So there's been a lot of different ideas, and obviously our team member here, Akira, is like the one who's pro and who's so diving into that. So I hate to give the wrong answer, but you will be able to follow along. To what degree? I think that is something that we'll improve on as we go. And if where we're able to innovate, it's going to be in that experience of following the tournament, and whether it's like an entrance video and you see your guy walk into the arena, stuff like that. That's really fun that we'll add. But yeah, it's essentially, almost like text-based battles at its heart with dice rolls. And so you will be able to follow, what happened. It's not just going to be like, sorry, you lost. You'll be able to go back and see, I rolled a 2. All I needed was a 7 or above or something. So that is, the factor of it. And that's why, as Jeb was saying, if you have worse attributes, it's not the end of the world. It's not like a real fight or like the stronger one wears you down. You're rolling dice, and one lucky shot, one unlucky step can change things.
Yeah, and it would be cool because, and I'm probably just going to keep bringing up Chain Faces and the parts of it that I didn't like from them, which
it's a
obviously
compliment.
It's good.
Yeah, it's
for
fun.
You guys have seen that, and you probably have seen a lot of the feedback from it. But one thing that I think annoyed a lot of people is you were just kind of on the website and it counted down, and then you would refresh and either your item shifted or it was still there. But I think watching a dice roll even is so much better because you can like in real time see, oh, I got that. What did they get? And like you're looking at it. It's more like the actual match involved in it. I think that's probably a cool aspect. And then, I mean, on here, it says the numbers on there. If I had a suggestion, I'd say the ability for an owner to name their character, I think could be pretty cool. That's a little attachment as well people could have. And I really like how this website is set up. It's pretty sleek. You can see all your stats right there. You can see like you have the attributes of the pilot on it as well. You have the specific attributes of the mech, and like you said, if you wanted to change the stat bonuses and not. So so you have the ability, it looks like, to create a mecha name.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned this before, but just to be clear, all the cap pilots themselves are unique, and all the mechs are unique before they receive their paint job. So there's some really cool pilot attributes, really cool headgear. Obviously, Jed did a great job drawing it, but I think there's a lot of like little things where, again, like you could have a Mecha Neko, but your pilot could have super rare cool headgear, stuff like that, where there's a lot of different cool aspects of NFT just beyond like class, if you will, from the shiny paint jobs to the special colors to your pilot attributes. So just another really cool feature that takes time. From, as Jed said, it's like there's no shortcuts. You just have to draw a bunch of elements. I believe we had 318 total elements, which is incredible. I think this website's really cool. And obviously shout out to the guys. And we got all the conceptualizing, the designing of the game. We already did it. So we really got a ton of work done towards this. And once we hit our goal, it's just pressing go and kind of making it happen and building it out. And so hopefully people see these slides and they see the work we've put in, in addition to Jed's great art, and they see a well-rounded NFT project. That was always our goal.
I don't know if you got into the Owners Club at all.
I did.
You did. Yeah. So they kind of set something like this up for their playoffs, where they had it set up like a best ball where you make the team at the beginning of the playoffs, but it was an NFT where as it goes on, you could sell it. So it's going to be interesting to watch towards the end of these tournament rounds when there's say like 4 left. Is the person interested in trying to sell their item? Then someone might want to buy it. Let's say, I don't know, they want to buy it for half an ETH or something and take that risk. It's still a 1 in 4 chance, but it's still being able to buy and sell this item as it's going along. And in
that case, you have your 1 in 4 chance, but now the sweat is yours, right? Like now you're sweating it. And so Owners Club is a good example, because I think that is another kind of example of like a sense where, hey, let's add NFTs, sounds fun. But, to be perfectly frank, if I'm going to play fantasy football, I'm going to go to DraftKings, where like I can pick any player. I don't have to, I want to play this guy, but I don't own him. I think people they worry about DraftKings and the 150 entry max. And it's like, if you're up against a whale in the Owners Club, you have much less of a chance than up against a whale in DraftKings. Like Osmo's got 150 lineups, but we're picking the same players. So to be honest, I was like, in Owners Club, it sounded cool. And I just like, as I did it, my fantasy football focus went to DraftKings. And I think that's kind of a good, kind of lesson for the NFT games, where it's like, people have these game NFTs that you expect people to pay multiple ETH. That's thousands of dollars. You can buy a 4K TV and a PS5 and the best game. And like, you don't have to pay that much money to play a good video game.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of recognizing that and seeing like the limitations of these NFT games and what the price points got to, I think it was only natural. But I think the Owners Club is a good example of kind of like, obviously a good idea. And I think DraftKings themselves is doing maybe an NFT type of thing.
They're playing on it for next year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm buying NFL all day, but like, or there's not going to be the NFL. So it's tough. But I kind of took that as another lesson, where it's like, don't try and make the best game. And also like, people aren't ready for Call of Duty, but with NFTs basically.
Right. Greg, I have a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lou.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just agreeing.
I forget in the game design, because I'm just the pixel pusher here. When we get down to like the final 16 or 8 or 4 contestants, isn't there like a break where people will have a time period to breathe and potentially put their competitor NFT up for sale?
Right. So I think we might have at least like the days spread out on this one. Where you can see essentially May 11th, May 12th, May 13th, and May 15th.
Round, basically.
Yeah. And then we start to get, we have so many matches to do that, they're quick on, for example, May 11th here. And then we get to the 13th, we have a break for the round of 64. And then round of 64, that's March Madness. So if even after that was every other day, or every 2 or 3 days, we think we have a really good thing where obviously the team aspect and stuff will maybe take about half, and then those bracket rounds will be spread out, and you will definitely have time in between to evaluate, to look at your next matchup, to see if anything on sale. We'll definitely have a bit of spacing there for people to, take a break and enjoy. And then, fun ideas that I have are like a Twitch stream, like for the final matches and stuff. I would compare it to like, everyone loves playing Madden. But then once in a while, you just like let the Sims play, like let the sim teams play against each other and just watch. And it's still fun, right? It takes like all the pressure out of it and you just watch what happens. So that's kind of like the no pressure vibe I would go for here with watching the Neko Core tournament, which is like, what? It's almost like there's no tough game theory. You're not going to be beating yourself up over a decision. You're just like sitting back and watching. And if it loses, well, there's nothing else I could have done. So I feel like there's a lot of NFT world causes a ton of second guessing. And so, less decisions sometimes can be more welcome.
I think it's really cool too. In the game design, the first couple of rounds are going to be 5-on-5. So if you find yourself having minted one of the lower faction mecha Nekos, say you've got like one of the bipedal
I'll go back to it.
mecha Nekos, right? So say you've got on the right side, you've got one of the lower tier ones, and it's not that powerful. But in the tournament, you suddenly find yourself on a team with 4 other divine Nekos, which that's going to happen to people. Just the way that randomization works, people are going to find themselves on teams with, senpai who can help them get through and will help them advance farther in the tournament than they ever could have. And I like that randomization too, because it's not pay to win all the time and purely pay to win. There are factors that kind of democratize and equalize things, so it's more fun and less just pay to win, and all that stuff.
And just that dynamic will lead to, when we get to the round of 5-12, you'll see, oh, wow, some Mecha Nekos made it through, like big underdogs. I think otherwise, if it was more like taking luck out of it, you get to the round of 5-12 and it would be mostly divine Nekos, the 1-on-1s and some. So obviously we need some element of luck. It can't just be like, oh, I'm drawing down to this tournament. And so I think it's a really, really fun part of it.
Yeah. And that sort of goes back to I like the idea of the Twitch stream, especially on one of those 5v5 days. If you have, you could just go and stream 20 of them in a row, especially if they're quick. And that's the type of stream that I think would be pretty interesting for people to watch and being a part of. I know a lot of these projects, like they do little game nights or just things in their Discord, and that's like a way that you could be part of that community in your Discord. Like, hey, we're going to stream these, you can watch, and people are rooting on for their own, and just having that schedule laid out, at 6:00, that's when my mecha is going to have their event. Like, that's when I'm going to go and watch, versus like to go back to the chain faces, it was just constant. So it would be running overnight. You might wake up and it's gone, versus exactly what time your guy's going to be out there and be a part of their match.
And we had originally announced this back in November. And part of the reason that we did the unusual step of building the whole project first and then asking people to mint it is because we thought we all might be anonymous. And I was like, no one's going to believe us that a tournament's coming, guys. Like, we better have proof. And so that was like another fun part of it.
Yeah. And then so why did you decide to, I guess, dox yourselves in that way? Was it just more of a way that you felt it was better connected? Like, that's the way that NFT projects have been shifting?
Yeah, I mean, I was the first one.
Go ahead, Greg.
Well, basically, I was first, and it was like, we need at least one person to be doxxed. And like, I don't work in an industry where people hate NFTs. No one's going to be like thinking I'm a terrible person for it. And so that was kind of an easy thing. I'm obviously like already very much in NFT world. I'm like commenting on YouTube with my full name. Like, I'm not very good at staying hidden. But Jed, was a more interesting question. So Jed, I'm happy to let you answer that from your perspective.
Yeah. What is it? Honestly, part of it was that I had just worked so freaking hard on this art that I wanted to take credit for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad too. It would have been so awkward just me receiving all the credit. Like, oh, Greg, amazing art. I'd be like, yeah, thanks. Like, it wasn't me.
Another thing was I wanted to let the collectors and participants know that I'm someone they can trust. I'm somebody who's been a public art figure on social media for the past 10 years. You can come talk to me at almost every Comic-Con across America because I'm there. And so, like, I'm coming to your town. You come talk to me about Neko Core or whatever else. And so, yeah, I wanted to let people know this is a trustworthy project. I'm in it for the long run. I want to put my name on it, and I take credit for it, for the good, and also for the responsibility of giving you guys something that is of value. And so that's when I decided I'm going public with this. And there was some flack. The Instagram community's got a lot of like really art-centered people and like environmentally centered people who don't fully understand like, how much, electricity is used with ether versus, their dishwasher at home, but whatever. So, some people left and other people who want to follow my ongoing NFT experience, they joined on, and it's been good because the people that I want to talk to, they join the Discord, and I get to talk to them.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. It's been good to find the people that I want to hang out with.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask, I know the pre-sale starts next Thursday, the 17th. Are there still ways to get on that list? Has that list already closed? Or I guess is there any other way that people, if they aren't currently on it yet, can?
Absolutely. And so the best way, of course, is come to our Discord. We are pretty much running constant giveaways for whitelist spots every 12 hours. And of course, that's something, we're keeping an eye on the number. We don't want to get too many wallets, of course, on the pre-sale. So as we get closer, we can increase that number or increase the frequency of those giveaways. So being in Discord and paying close attention, as I mentioned, sometimes maybe a team member says something like, hey, I just released some cat pilot PFPs. If you want to make it your server icon and at me, I'll put you on, that kind of thing. And we're also doing a number of collaborations with other projects, hoping to set one up with our good friends at Penelope's, obviously Club NGMI, my friends there, Alpha Group, happy to get those involved, a couple other Alpha groups, a couple other projects, sharing with the community, obviously Animo, we did the collab with them, wanted to get their community involved as well. So if you're a holder of those projects, keep an eye out. There'll be giveaways posted. But in general, the best way is definitely come in the Discord, say hi, get the role, hop in the giveaways. But if you're in the Discord and you're paying attention, I think that over the next few days, you'll find a few opportunities to get on the whitelist, and we'd be happy to have you.
Yeah. And do you have a slide in here specifically that's just the pilots? Because I think I wanted to make a comment about them where I think they're very simple, but they have like the base ones are pretty simple, but like they're very cute. And then they also have more advanced traits that they can have on them. So you can have this like basic one, like let's say the one on the right, it's basic. It just has, it's like sunglasses, but that can still be like its own cool PFP versus some of those other ones that have like a crazy helmet on and it still looks simple. But then, yeah, like that one, like he looks that much cooler by having this helmet on. And a lot of them seem to have emotions to them, whether you can see it just in the eyes or the mouth as well, which I think is pretty cool with that aspect of it.
Yeah, initially we had not decided to do, when we first started the project a long time ago, we just thought we'll just do the cat piloting the mecha and that's the NFT. And then about halfway down the production process, we thought, let's offer these too. And so we're going to offer them for free. You got to pay gas, but otherwise it's a free mint. And we kind of lucked into it that they're really nice, simple designs that would look really good at a small scale as a PFP. It's a simple little cat and they're very appealing. And that was kind of a happy accident, but I love how it turned out.
Jed's very, very humble to say that we lucked into these hand drawn drawings here, obviously. But no, I fully think that like Cute Kittens could have been its own NFT collection, right? Like,
yeah,
they're all unique, no question about it. And it's kind of just like adding things and adding elements of like successful NFT projects and just making sure that at every step, like, what would an NFT collector want to hear? Okay, let's do it. And, we're lucky that we had the team that could do that. It wasn't like, oh, they're going to want utility. Geez, how are we going to do that? Like, we started from having incredible game developers on the team ready to go. And, I think that's, I feel really lucky, obviously, to have these talented friends who are like perfectly suited to make an NFT project. Lucky that I learned about NFTs when I did. And I think that kind of, that's where I came in, just knowing as new as I am, I was the NFT veteran and just saying like, oh, definitely don't do this. Oh, zoom in test. We're going to zoom in. Oh, OpenSea page test. Make sure they don't all look the same. Just seeing what tripped up other projects and just watching everyone in the Discord turn on it for whatever reason, for whatever mistake was made. Just kind of like almost internalizing all of those and just making sure that we're not making the same mistakes. I think it's been pretty helpful. And I think that, obviously focusing on what we have is the most important thing. And that is amazing art, really talented game devs, and just a committed team. And, we've worked on it for a while and I feel like we're getting really close, getting a lot of attention. It's really exciting. Just a really exciting time.
Yeah, definitely gets a little relieving once you get closer to it. Obviously, like the upcoming days and you got the week ahead is going to be pretty hectic probably, but once it releases, it's a little better. And like you said, like you've been able to see what other projects are either doing wrong, what they faulted on, and able to adjust it, which a lot of people just that's kind of a big strategy, is like watch and learn what others do. So I was gonna ask if there's anything on the slides that we haven't gotten to yet.
I think we got. I
I
think
didn't
one
want to
that I
jump in.
maybe brushed past quickly. So these are obviously Jed's
Yeah.
previous work. He talked about it before we had the slides up. Just super cool stuff. And this is essentially the style of the Ukiyo-e Heroes, his current art, and of course what the next collection will be. So we'll do that. I think we did the trophy Nekos, right? This is gold and silver, and of course there's also bronze. These will be the ones that are given away for free.
Can
And
I throw one in there, Greg?
Yeah, please.
Another thing I think is cool is that the trophies they'll go to your wallet and then they'll be entered into future tournaments. So
Right.
it doesn't just sit
double
there as
entries.
you're a double entrant, and the trophy mechas are all some of the strongest in the whole collection.
Stats.
Yeah, they got strong stats. So if you win, you suddenly have a very good competitor here.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And then
no, I think we covered all the slides.
Yeah, what I was gonna say on the stats is that's the other thing. Say there's like 4 left, and you have one of the basic ones, which you're like, oh well, that one probably has the least likely chance of getting through, that sort of thing. Versus, maybe the one that has a clear advantage by stat wise is going to be the one that is more likely to sell at that point. That sort of thing. I think what I was going to ask was, is it top 3 get one of these? You had mentioned the bronze. Yeah.
There's a bronze too. Bronze didn't make the slide. But yes, gold, silver, and bronze for every tournament. So that's 3, and there's 24 tournaments times 3. So again, serial numbers 1 through 72 will be, minted first, of course. You'll be able to see them in like the OpenSea page of like that. They'll be in the wallet waiting to be sent. I think it'll be a really cool thing to look through. And then, of course, as they end, we'll be sending them out to the winners.
Cool. And are there any other ways that people can maybe through your Discord get any sort of boosts or any advantage as far as the game goes?
That's an interesting question.
Not through Discord. As we mentioned earlier, with the toggles here, if you're paying close attention and you're seeing, the terrain of the tournament and what attributes it favors, you can do that. And then I obviously should add it to the slides, but similar to this page where you see your one Neko, during the team phase, you'll see there's a team page where you see all 5, all of their stats, the total team stats, your team stats in the sense of like how many wins and losses your team has so far and who you've beaten. And so kind of, before, obviously you'll alter your individual Neko beforehand, but kind of the first tournament thing you're reading, the first update, the first status is this team page. You see who's on your team and who you're playing and all that stuff. So a lot of different cool pages, and that work's already been done to design them. It's just kind of the building it out and getting it up and running. And I think that's something that, as far as NFT timelines from mint to utility, I think we're definitely one of the quickest, and that was absolutely a goal.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking of it similar to some other like games like this, where maybe you get XP and you level up specific stats or anything like that. But basically, that's what these stat boosts in this that you toggle on and off are. But then at the end of each round, it resets back.
Yeah, and that's a good point of XP, where it's like you can set up a system like that, but it just essentially kind of rewards the people who have the time to put into it. And almost like if I'm not going to have time to pay attention and grind XP and level up, it almost maybe turns you off from the start, where you're like, I'm just not going to get in if people are going to be like playing harder than me and beating me at this game. So I think that was kind of, what we would make sure of, like, I know how NFT collectors are. They're super into something. They're like, I'm going to click this every day for the next 10 years. And like a week goes by and they're like, yeah, I'm over it. And so I think we all know ourselves and we know how that happens. And so we want to make sure people feel comfortable collecting these, where you're not going to have a reason to be like, oh, never mind. We've really, especially long-term, especially having something to look forward to, whether you made your unreveal one, you're hoping you get your 1 of 1, then the tournament, then Ukiyo-e Heroes, just really always having something in the future. Cause I think that really that's been, a key lesson of like, you need to have that. It can't just be mint reveal, we'll figure it out next. You're just always going to be dwindling from that moment if you declare like this is our peak. And so, obviously I think we have, 2 years of tournament where we're giving out number 3, 2, and 1. I'm confident that this team, we talk about ways all the time where we can make it a better product and improve on it. But obviously first we have to, get a solid foundation, of owners and make sure the basics work. And so I think that we're on a really good path. And again, I don't want to make any vague promises. We've really done our best to avoid those so far.
Yeah.
But one thing I feel is not a big promise is just like the team is really dedicated to making this really good. The people, they have made good video games. They have made video games where they could have released it years before and spent time perfecting and fine tuning and making it the best it could be. That's just, who these people are. And as I said, I feel really lucky to be friends with them and be working with them. And I think that together we've just made a really well-rounded project.
Yeah. And Caleb in chat here is saying he loves the project. He's super hyped. And he's waiting on the mint like an Amazon package is what he says here. So
thank you, Caleb.
Definitely. Hey, that's a good way to put it. You're like they're waiting. It's right around the corner, Caleb. It's only about a week out now. And did we say how many are on the pre-sale? Is it mint 1? Can you mint multiple?
You can mint 2. And so, as I mentioned, we launched back in November without plans for a whitelist. And so when we went to a whitelist, we, of course, said, if you've been with us, you're able to be on and add your wallet. And so obviously we're saving places for those early people, but we also recognize that it's possible someone joined in November and it's like way down their list of Discord servers piling up notifications. I mean, we all know that sometimes that's the case. And so we're not going to like be reserving for them, but we're careful with how fast we're adding people. Obviously, if people hear about it and are like, oh, wow, I've been in this Discord for 3 months. Cool. I have the role. Let me get on the whitelist, making sure that we, of course, don't oversubscribe it. And so as far as like the exact number, it's kind of like we're leaving the spots open for those original people if they all come back. And we're, of course, working on collabs. And so we'll get to the exact number. But just to answer your question, it's max 2. And we certainly won't be, oversubscribing it. So if you're on the whitelist, you will get your chance to mint your 2 in that 24-hour pre-sale period for the reduced price.
Cool. Yeah, it's I think it's a pretty interesting, different take on NFT games. Like you said, you're not making these crazy promises of having, the next Modern Warfare or
I think that's just
high-tech
not
stuff.
Realistic. I think we've all realized that, especially from like Modern Warfare selling their game for $60 every year. They're not going to be like one of the players sell it and they make the money. Like, why would they do that? So essentially what you need is a competitor to these entrenched guys who are making so much money. And I think it'll happen, like, especially when you get to like, Madden and people buying those Ultimate Team cards. Like, how can you not see the similarity between like a Madden Ultimate Team card and an all-day NFT, and like one retains value and the other doesn't? And I think it's on the NFL All Days of the world to add a fun game around it and add some utility there. But just like, the notion of you own it and you're enjoying it, but the asset is something you own, you can sell. To me, like that aspect of it, I think that we've done that with the blockchain gaming, like you own the character, but with a concept that's like deliverable and realistic and not inflationary, all the problems that P2E games run into, because it's really complicated and a tough question. If I had the answer for how to make a P2E game, trust me, I'd be doing it. But instead we were like, that sounds really hard and long and vague. So why don't we go the other way and make something fun and simple that looks cool, that people can enjoy soon?
And it requires a lot of resources.
Yeah,
it's important to promise something that we can actually deliver, and then as the project grows and if revenue flows, we love games. We're passion driven people, and we're dedicated to this tournament. If we see ways that we can improve participant experience and make it a better experience for people, make it more fun, we will be making things much more enjoyable for people as we go along. And so we start with something that we could definitely promise instead of pie in the sky stuff that will never happen.
I respect that. We're on the same page. Like, we're going to make a really great NFT project. We're not like, we're going to take over the world. Everyone's going to know the name Neko Core. It's like, no, this is going to be a really good NFT project. We're going to make it as good as we can. And that's who we are. So I think that, these over promising or just super vague promising, or even worse, kind of like, take the art plan example. You just don't say anything. You let everyone like make up their own roadmap in their head that sounds good to them. And then when it actually happens, people's illusions are shattered. Just as Jed said, being upfront, hopefully it's a refreshing change of pace in NFT world. And, obviously it all starts with art. Having a cool art collection to be able to build this on top of, that was what made me always say like, hey guys, we have something here. Like, this is worth pursuing. I'm telling you, keeping a close eye on these projects. Oh, this thing Chain Faces came out. They have a similar tournament idea, but like, they don't have any art. So I don't feel like, pack it in, guys. Chain Faces, like, it was cool. And actually the one thing I thought was like, oh, maybe people will compare us to Chain Faces, like as an easy shorthand to describe it. So
like a
Lou, thank you
better
so much.
Chain Faces.
Well, better Chain Faces is way beyond my wildest dreams. What I was hoping was like similar to Chain Faces.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the art, but yeah, I think that, look, obviously winning ETH is fun, but making tough decisions about a valuable NFT you own is not fun, and owning a cool piece of artwork is very fun. So, you know, that's kind of where our thinking came from and how it developed. And I think that kind of what we wanted to make matched up with what I thought collectors would want, in a really great way, in the way that kind of naturally flowed, and we're able to come up with what I think is a really great project.
Yeah. Cool. And then I believe you said the first tournament will be starting in about a month.
May.
Is that right?
May 1st is our goal.
1st.
Yes, that is when we will plan to start. As I said, sounds like a very ambitious timeline, but I will point you to the work we've already done.
Yeah.
It's you know, beyond our 2 members of our team who are game developers. We've brought on additional team members solely for tournament dev, solely working on upkeep and design and building this out. Really, honestly, like another team of professionals that our guys have worked with before, and just like a really great working environment. And it just feels like a legitimate company. Honestly, we're like, oh, got this professional team showing up to work on the tournament.
Yeah.
And so, you know, obviously, to a degree, you know, obviously we're really hoping that the mint does well, and we're really excited to get started with all these.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, I appreciate you guys hopping on today and telling us a little more about your project. I'm glad that we were able to get both of you on. I know originally George was asking, and I was like, yeah, you think Jed would be willing to come on too?
I'm
I
glad
think
you
it's
did.
always cool whenever we have these projects, to get the artist on there. And a lot of people like to see that side of it as well, like the dev, the artist, have a little of both, or like the community leaders. And it's always, I think, a little cooler when you can put a face to it. Like you guys said, the whole idea of doxing or not doxing anon teams. So it's always cool whenever we're able to see that. And Caleb did have one question before we started rolling out. He's saying he wants silver, but what are his he says, what are y'all's favorite mechs?
Jack, can you pick just one?
Pick one. Yeah.
I have a favorite. It's one of the 101s though, which feels like cheating.
Mm.
And it hasn't been revealed yet, so it's an even worse answer. But what I will say is that we had the shiny, which was the one on the left, the Mecha Neko. I think those shinies are just so cool. And like getting a shiny of the most common type to me would be just as cool as getting Divine Neko. And I think it's actually like more rare. So the shiny paint jobs are rare, and obviously there's a decent amount of Divine Nekos.
They have boosted stats too. I like the shinies. That's what I'll say too. Is there's an obsidian one that looks super red.
Ooh.
There's a turquoise one that I love. It's got kind of like earthy colors and then like turquoise, you know, blue. And it's really cool. See, and there's a ruby one, a diamond one. They look really cool.
Hearing Jed say these color names reminds me there's like months of like color picking, tossing out color combinations, and do we like this one? And these guys just really worked hard to make a great set. I mean, they weren't like, oh, these are cool and we'll populate it with some lower tier ones. Like, no, everyone really started from the bottom, and you know, design on that well-rounded project that I keep saying.
Yeah, cool. Well, like I said, appreciate you guys hopping on, and if you're listening, I hope that you check out their Discord. I'll put that in the notes, some of the links to your guys' page, and I'll probably throw in the Discord link as well if I didn't already put that in the show notes. But I'll do that, and yeah, next week we'll be watching you guys for sure. So good luck with your mint. I'm glad that you guys came on with us today. We'll be in touch. I know I will be in touch with you, G-Worsh, at least in our
you can't
in
avoid
the Discords.
As long as I own that token, you can't avoid me. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the best part of the decentralized world, you know.
Right.
So cool. Well, thanks again, and we'll catch you guys next time.